and welcome to another Stitch with me. I am looking an absolute hot mess, so you don't need to see my face for the intro. This month again we are going to work on Haystack Sunset by Jeff Pritchard, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I have broken it into a quadriptych as I'm showing here, and I am working on part 2 and am about 89% complete. This, if you choose to actually watch my stitching, is going to be a bit of a mess. If you do watch, you'll notice I'm all over the place. I can't decide where I want to stitch, and I have a lot of issues with the thread staying on the needle. But I wanted to get something out because I like consistency, and other than being, all of the residents of Struggletown, I really had no excuse. So I will go through some questions, but I'm also going to have a little bit of a chat first. I did record more footage than I usually do, so we've got a little bit more time to spend together. If you haven't seen it already, I have hit 500 subscribers. Thank you so much to everyone who spends time with me. If you haven't gone and watched my April update, head on over there. I am hosting a giveaway. It will be open until my birthday, the 24th of June, and I will put out a special video then drawing the winner and starting my birthday start, which I am also hosting as a stitch along. If you did watch that already, I mentioned that my Mania Plans, I was hoping to have Haystack Sunset Part 2 finished by the end of May. I don't think that's going to happen. I've had quite a substantial change in my life. I was originally going to have, not this week, next week off as annual leave, and was planning on doing nothing but stitch for the entire 5 days. That's no longer happening. I actually finish at my current job on Wednesday, and it's crazy to say out loud. I was supposed to start my new job on the 24th, which is why I wasn't going to get my annual leave, but there's been a bit of a shake-up with that, for good reasons. Like, I'm not upset that my expectations haven't been met. It's really difficult to say. I've actually been offered another job, so I'm sort of working through that. Don't want to say too much because I'm not sure how I'm able to work through it, but it'll figure itself out, I'm sure. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for the life update. We are going to Cowra next weekend for dance, so I do have a bit of costume repair / adjustments to make, which will obviously also eat into my stitching time. But I'm really pleased with my progress on Haystack, and I'm pretty confident I will finish it by my birthday at least. I guess I may as well chat a little bit about my stitching plans before we get into the questions. Originally, not originally, I've done a lot of different methods. I've done focus only on Haystack. I've done start all the things and work on all the things. I have come to realize, while focusing the last couple of months on Haystack, that I like having a focus piece. And please ignore the mess on my desk. I really didn't think that you'd be able to see it when I set up. Yeah, so I really do like having a focus piece and seeing significant movement on it, but I also have something like 75 whips and a lot of projects I do want to be starting soon, so I don't want to completely ignore them either. So what I think, and again, this is probably highly likely to change, I would like to work on Haystack for half an hour a day, every day. I've still got 2 parts to go and am hoping to have them done within 5 years of the start, which puts me at the end of 2024. So I'm planning tentatively to work half an hour on Haystack. I am going to be picking a work whip, which I work on my lunch breaks at work, and that will be sort of an exclusive whip that goes to work with me. Originally, I was going to have a new start, but Haid hasn't released the pattern I was looking at in time for my new job, and looking at it, it would probably be wise for me to take a mini rather than a full-size piece, just because it will be easier to stitch with when I don't actually know what facilities I'll be working with. And I am going to be using mini apple blossom. I should have prepared the artist name. Regardless, I will talk about that in my May update. So if you're interested in seeing that and getting the artist, I will show it then. So they will be worked on pretty much every day. And then I think I'm going to have a tiny decisions wheel of the rest of my whips and spin them and sort of focus on them every month. So every month I will change my focus unless I am close to a finish or am really feeling the whip, in which case I will just keep working on it until it's either finished or I'm ready to move on. Obviously, that can change. Obviously, I'm part of Magical Stitches group on Facebook. At the moment, with my focus on Haystack, I have been doing the monsters and the cabins, so I could continue with that if I do have the focus pieces. I've also, which I will go into in much greater depth, or as much as you can go into, I've been gifted all of the floss I need to finish kitting up fairy bubbles for my birthday from Melissa. Melissa does the things. I'm sorry, Melissa, I should know your channel name. So once I have finished twisting and putting those onto Annie's, I will hopefully be able to get back to fairy bubbles, which I wanted to be a pretty big focus this year because it was the image and or chart which got me interested in cross stitch and really hooked me in. So I would like to see that piece get quite a bit of love, but the Max color really tripped me up with how I stitch. So I'm hoping having it fully kitted will allow me to actually work on it and see some good progress. So I guess my plans are that I don't really have solid plans. I would love to be able to maintain a rotation like a lot of people do, but I don't necessarily get bored. I do get restless, I think is a better word or a way to describe it. So I'm pretty impressed that I've been able to work on nothing but Haystack with my, what are the words? Words are hard. Predisposition to being distracted, I guess. Yeah, and I'm still super surprised that I have worked on this every single day without fail, and hope I can continue until its final completion. I am very, very excited to see part 1 and part 2 washed and completed next to each other, and I think that'll give me a drive, but I can't see me focusing exclusively on part 3 just yet. There's something about a fresh piece of Ada after you've been filling in, like today on my Stitch With Me, it's pretty much colouring in. There's obviously a few stitches here and there that I have to miss, but for the most part I'm just stitching everything that's left, and I will lose that pretty quickly going to part 3. And it does, I guess, strange things in my mind. It's a new start, but it doesn't feel like a new start because it is the one piece. It's, yeah, a weird in between. I think that's all the real chatting I had. There's not much to say. I should get surgery soonish. I think I've only got about 30 days before I should hear my surgery date, so hopefully I'll get a couple of days of stitching in when I can't do anything else. I've got a meniscal tear in my left knee and it is causing quite a bit of pain. It's been there for 4 years, so it's obviously not healing itself. So I will be getting surgery to fix that soon, which I am so excited about. And again, that was kind of almost playing into my hope of finishing this in May, but it doesn't look like I will get surgery in May, so losing my annual leave, I guess, really hasn't done much to stop that. Just have a quick drink of water because I've been talking a lot. And I will, I guess, start with the questions. Again, I'm working off the 371 random get to know you tag. I'm probably not going to answer every single question. I think I've skipped a couple in the past, and I'm likely to do the same. Some of them aren't really relevant, and so I'm not going to sort of waste my brain power trying to think of an answer. So the next question I'm up to is, who has left the most impact on your life? Honestly, I can't pick one person. There's quite a few that have left an impact for different reasons. Some good, some bad, some bad that became good just because it's sort of, I won't do what they did. That may be a little cryptic, but I'm not going to call anyone out on YouTube. So yeah, that one I don't really have an answer for. Next, what aspect of your life needs tremendous improvement? I think I'd have to say my sleep. Now that's, I guess, weird. I don't know if that's what they meant by the question. I don't sleep very well for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's insomnia, sometimes it's pain with my knee. I've tried quite a few things. I do have the Calm app and listen to the meditations and white noise, but it's not working as effectively as I would like. I don't get tired necessarily until at least 11:30 at night. And when I say I don't get tired, that's sort of enough for me to feel I could fall asleep. But then I struggle to wake up of a morning and spend the entire day super tired. So I would love to get into a good sleep rhythm so I could be more functional while awake and having to be. What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen in your life? I don't know. I don't think anything really jumps out at me. I'm sure I've seen some weird things, but nothing comes to mind, so it couldn't have been too memorable. Who is the best teacher you've ever had? That's easy. Miss Cameron. I had her for grade 11 and 12 biology. I do believe that she is the entire reason that biology was my favourite subject in school. I absolutely adore her. She was just amazing. For many, many reasons. I enjoyed going to her class. She would often visit me at my weekend job and taunt me that she had my results but wouldn't tell me. She was a really, really lovely person, and kind of wish it wasn't weird to keep in contact. I did move, from town as soon as I finished grade 12, so I haven't been able to run around or run into her around town. I don't know if she's married. I don't know anything or what happened to her, but I remember biology fondly because of her. Who is the biggest pack rat you know? This is kind of embarrassing to admit. I don't actually know what that means. I'll give it a quick Google. Okay, it tells me of the actual rat. Someone who collects things that they do not need. I don't know. I don't really know anyone who collects things for the sake of collecting. It's sort of, I haven't watched Marie Kondo or read her book, but I know the catchphrase is, does it spark joy? And I figure if what you've got sparks joy, then it's not for no reason. So I don't think I know anyone that fits that. Number 74. Who's the first person you call when something exciting happens? It kind of depends on what exciting thing it is. But for the most part, probably my husband. I call him for most things, and even things that he wouldn't really, I guess, not understand, but he wouldn't feel the same level of excitement. But yeah, he's pretty much the first person I call. And then number 75 is, who is the first person you call when something horrible happens? And I'd have to say the same. Yeah, I would call my husband. 76, who is the worst boss you've ever had? I'm, again, not going to put someone on blast on the internet, but it was a fairly recent, see, it could be two. One of my fairly recent bosses had the staff retention rate really, really bad. And then I had a couple of bosses who weren't exactly family friendly and tried to discipline me because I put my family first. So yeah, I've had a couple of not so great bosses, but I'm sure everyone has. 77, can you close your eyes and raise your eyebrows? I think so. I tried it while I was skimming over the questions. I feel like my eyebrows are raised, but I've obviously got my eyes closed and I can't tell, so maybe? Also, that is an extremely random question, so there you go. Can you do a split? Not anymore. I used to be. I was a dancer. I was pretty flexible. Not as flexible as some, but I could do the splits in all three directions. I could right up until, I think, giving birth, and then I sort of stopped being so active's not the right word. I stopped the stretching and can no longer do them, but I would like to get back to that place one day. I'm just limited to what I can do with my knee. So hopefully one day I'll be able to answer yes again. Can you touch your nose with your tongue? Don't think so. Just tried it, didn't work. I don't know why you'd want to. Can you whistle? Yes, I don't have a lot of control over it, but I can. Can you dance? Again, I used to be able to dance. I could probably pick it up again, but are they questioning if you can dance in a specific style like tap or ballet, or are they asking can you dance sort of on the dance floor at a club? I probably don't think I could dance at a club because it's too it's not structured enough. But yeah, again, I don't really go out, so maybe. And apologies if you can hear my son in the background. He's decided to stream, and even though both of our doors are closed, he is extremely loud. So apologies if you can hear him. 82, do you remember your dreams? Yes. I don't know if I remember all of them. Sometimes it's sort of just a vague feeling of what happened. Other times I could remember them well enough to be able to write a book from them. So I have fairly regular vivid dreams that I do remember, which is a good thing and a bad thing. Thankfully, I don't have too many nightmares, but when I'm sick especially, I do get they're quite scary, and it's kind of interesting in when I have a fever, I have a pretty consistent dream, and sort of the fever to the point of throwing up, and it's really it's hard to describe. I don't know if you know of those nail contraptions where you sort of push your hand in and it keeps the like imprint of your hand. It's kind of like that in a circle where it goes round like a clock, the nails going up and then going down, and then just before I wake up to throw up, all of the nails kind of explode out of it. It's bizarre, but it happens so regularly, and I don't know what it means, but that's a little glimpse into my psyche. Do you save old greeting cards and letters or throw them away? I definitely throw them away. I don't get a lot because I don't like using the paper. I used to have a pen pal and talk to someone, and while we were conversing, I did keep our letters, but we kind of drifted apart, and when I sort of couldn't get the relationship back, I did clear them out in one of our moves so they weren't just hanging around. Do you sing in the shower? No. I'm not a huge fan of music. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times before. So I don't, not something that I want to do in the shower is where I have, all of the random ideas as you do. For a while I did have one of those stone notebooks in the shower, but it wasn't worth it because my ideas weren't usually helpful. They were just really random, and I thought that they were a good idea. Do you sleep with the lights on or off? Off. I do need sound, which I think I've mentioned before, but I don't need lights. That being said, I do find that I sleep a lot more soundly during the day. So if I sleep in sort of past, normal time, like this morning, I had a really large sleep in because I haven't been sleeping, and I think the hours of daylight were much more restful than the overnight. And if I have a nap during the day, especially sort of around the midday, I feel so much more rested after, an hour and a half of nap than I do 8 hours of sleep overnight. So while I do sleep with the lights off, I do like natural light to fall asleep with. Okay, this is going to be hard. Do you spell the colour as grey or grey? Obviously, you can't see the spelling. It's with an E or with an A. I spell it with an E. Do you take any pills or medication daily? Yes, I am back on medication for my mental health. I was off it for quite a while, but the stress just got too much for me to be able to handle without the assistance of medication. Sorry, just marking off because I am trying to stitch while you're watching me stitch, which is bizarre, but there you go. Do you prefer kissing or cuddling? Definitely cuddling. I'm a bit of a cuddle bug. It's, I think, a comfort thing. I like small spaces and the dark, which is weird because when I go to a lot of meetings, I like to be there before the meeting starts by quite a bit. I'm usually there 5-10 minutes before, and everyone who comes in has to turn on the room lights because I'm happy without them. Do you prefer the people shoot straight with you or temper their words? Why? I think there's a time and a place for both. I don't want people to lie to me, but I don't necessarily want them to be harsh for the sake of being harsh. Do you prefer Titanic or The Notebook? Honestly, I don't know. I watched both under duress, I think at a sleepover for both of them. I can't remember either enough to even pick, but neither. Do you have a catchphrase? I don't think so. I might say things regularly that I don't realise, but there's nothing I consciously say. Do you have a garden? Kind of. We rent where we are, and there was a garden in place, so my husband maintains it, but it's not something that we do for joy or because we choose to. So yes, we have one, but not necessarily by choice. Do you have any hidden dream that you've never shared with anyone? No, I don't think so. To be honest, I still don't necessarily know what I want to do with my life. I really enjoy being an EA, and it's definitely suits my skill set. Do I necessarily want to do it for the rest of my life until I retire? Maybe. I don't know. I, for a long time, enjoyed writing and wanted to be an author. I guess I've just lost that passion. There's still a few stories that I would like to tell, but it's a matter of priorities. I don't want to stop stitching to spend the time on that, so it's obviously not that important to me at this point in my life. 94, do you have a tattoo? Yes, I do. It's on my wrist and often covered by my watch band. At the time I got it, I had like old school watch, not the smartwatch that I do have today, and I would have the face on the underside of my wrist and would look at the time by turning my wrist over that way. I don't know why, that's just how I felt comfortable using it. And I got the tattoo DFTBA on my wrist. If you know of the Vlog Brothers, that's sort of why I got it. Don't forget to be awesome. I do believe that a lot of people use that catchphrase now, but it was just a constant reminder for me when I needed it. I'm not 100% in love with it. I guess I didn't do as much research as I thought into the tattoo artist, and they did not tell me that the font style I was looking at wouldn't work long term. It doesn't necessarily look bad, but it's not as crisp as I would like. I'm not sure if it's something that can be fixed, but as it's under my watch and can't really be seen like 95% of the time, I'm not in any rush to do anything about it necessarily. Okay, another drink. Do you have a whole lot of acquaintances or just a few very close friends? I think definitely a few close friends. I know a fair few people. I'll talk to them occasionally, but I've got a fairly limited friendship circle. I don't necessarily like socializing. I think I'm not an introvert, but I'm not an extrovert. I can't remember what the middle thing is. I get energy from people and like spending time with them, but it's sort of only when I have the mental energy for it. And it's got to be the right people. So I can't sort of just go to a club and enjoy being around everyone. Do you have any allergies? Not that I'm aware of. I do have an intolerance to lactose, which developed later in life, but thankfully there are tablets and a lot of options available, so it hasn't really affected my life too much. I wasn't the biggest fan of dairy. Occasionally I would like, a soft cheese or yogurt, but the only thing that it may have affected was my coffee consumption because I do prefer lattes. And again, as I said, most places have alternatives or lactose free milk, so it's not really an issue. Do you have any pets? Yes, I do. If you've watched this channel, you've seen one of them a couple of times. So I've got Luna, who is a ragdoll cat. I believe she is turning 8 this year, which is crazy. Doesn't feel like we've had her for that long. And I also have a budgie called Cleo. I was hoping to be able to sort of train her and spend a lot more time with her than I can. I don't know whether she is just nervous and not interested, or whether it's because I haven't been able to give as much time as required. She will step up on my finger if I put it in the cage, but she's not happy about it. And yeah, she hasn't sort of started any whistles or copied me with anything. But yeah, it's not on her. I know I probably haven't given as much attention is required for that. Next. Do you hold any convictions that you would be willing to die for? I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Sorry, I went silent for a bit. Yeah, possibly, but nothing's coming to mind. Do you carry a donor card? Yes, I do. For a long time, it was part of our license, whether you're a donor or not, and they have recently changed it so you needed to apply for a specific card, which I now have. I won't need anything once I'm gone, so why not give it to someone who does need it? Do you have a best friend? If so, then who? I've got a couple of best friends. I think it comes back to close acquaintances, or many acquaintances or close friends. I don't have many friends, so I consider a lot of them to be my best friend. So I don't have one necessarily above all others. Do you believe ignorance is bliss? Why or why not? I think it depends on what it's about. There are some things in which ignorance doesn't hurt, and yeah, sure. Other things, not necessarily. No examples are coming to my mind, of course, but yeah, I think it's more of a case by case basis than a one answer. Do you believe in love at first sight? I don't think so. There's definitely something that sort of makes you attracted to someone else, but love is work. It's not always going to be easy, and if you're just basing it on your first impressions and there's no growth between the two of you, I don't think it would work. Who performs the most random acts of kindness out of everyone you know? I don't really keep tally, so I don't know. I know a lot of very generous people, and so I would not feel comfortable calling one out and potentially forgetting others. So, no, not that one. And oh my goodness, I stitched a lot yesterday, and you're seeing it in sped up times. Kind of bored of the questions, but I don't know what else to talk about. How do people do it? So I don't know if you could tell, but I did take a bit of a break. I just couldn't think of anything to talk about and didn't want you guys sitting in silence. I think maybe I will have to look into royalty free music, or just record shorter Stitch With Me's. I did get a little bit carried away yesterday while recording, so it is longer than usual. I'm sorry if I have spoken about this before, but I thought I would talk about the way I do stitch and set everything up, and then maybe we'll go back to a couple more questions. So as you can see from this video, I do extreme cross country, where I stitch one colour at a time across the entire piece. I fell into this style pretty quickly. When I first started, I think I attempted to do the sort of block by block that I think is most standard, but would find myself not wanting to finish off a thread if it was sort of done in that block, and I would follow it across, and yeah, pretty quickly learnt and just figured out that I like just one colour at a time. Also because most of my stitching, it has changed a little bit. I'm stitching overnight, but for the most part, most of my stitching is not actually done at home. So I do prefer Heaven and Earth Designs charts, and if you know anything about them, you know that they have a lot of colours. Even, I guess, the most basic ones, the standard colour list is 89 colours, and I do also prefer max colour a lot of the time, and trying to take all the colours I would need for the chart everywhere I went, or figuring out what I would need for the next couple of blocks. It was just more effort than it was worth, and I found it easier to grid, which I do with fishing line. I did with thread briefly, but obviously you can pierce that. So relatively quickly discovered that fishing line was the best thing to use, as I couldn't find sulky thread very easily here. And then I only need to take at maximum 2 colours with me. Maybe towards the end with Haystack this time I might need to take a bit more, because I am stitching a fair amount, and towards the end you'll only have sort of 40-50 colours or stitches in a colour. But it was a lot easier for me to stitch one colour at a time, would only need maximum of 2 colours and all of my stitching supplies. So that's sort of, yeah, how I stitch for the most part. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but again, I just don't know what else to talk about. Sorry, my trying to stitch, and I've found one that I marked off but didn't actually stitch, so got a bit distracted. Recently, if you do watch my videos, you'll know I am trying a few other styles, especially the way that Hannah stitches. She does sort of a staggered block by block. I am changing it slightly to suit myself. I'm not doing single stitch at a time, which is what she does. I sort of colour complete in that block, and I've also found that doing a 10 by 20 is sort of more comfortable for me. It sort of allows me to colour complete in a sense, but also do the blocks, which does look pretty cool in its own way, watching it grow. I think they're the main two. I am doing one whip that I'm doing colour completion smallest count to largest. I'm not often drawn to stitch on that because it is quite annoying counting as far as it's required, but I just think it would look really cool to watch the progression of that. I am also considering just a different style, because why not? On one of my other pieces, I can't decide whether I want to do a single stitch across the entire piece or whether I want to do a 10 by 10 row across the entire piece, but I hope to start that soonish. And there is also, I don't think you would class it as a method, it's more a challenge, I think, that Danny Corrigan has started on Facebook and also uploading to their Instagram, where every day they are rolling a randomizer and working on whatever block it calls out. They're doing it daily, like a block every day. I don't think I want to commit to that much, but I'm thinking I might do a block a week. And I have got the whip picked out for that, which I'm excited to start. Probably when I finish Haystack, I will be starting on that one. Yeah, and on my Gecko Rouge, at least the first piece, I'm stitching more similarly to Heather, the confetti stitcher, where she sort of follows the colour and the thread to where it goes to. I did not get gridded fabric for story time, and I have not found fishing line or a product that I like gridding with I that I don't think opens up the holes too much and warps the fabric. So I've been sort of following the thread where it goes. I think that's pretty much it. I did want to use, again, Heather's method that she uses on George, that she did the first colour across. So she'd go across the row with a half stitch and then come back completing the cross. I love the idea of that, but I don't think I have any whips that are that color dense to be able to complete it. Though now that I've said that, perhaps Birth of a Star might. It has a lot of 939, and I know one of the pages is nothing but 939, so I might have to have a quick look at that and see if I can do it for that. Obviously I've already started it. I will try not to restart. I have a horrible habit of wanting the one method from start to finish on a project. I have unpicked quite a few projects in my time only to change the method of stitching, not because there was anything wrong with it. But do you have any other methods of stitching that you think might be fun to try? I am attempting to, I guess, expand my skill set's not quite the right word, but I do want to try different things. I'm not saying that they'll work, and I'm not saying that I'll continue on with them, but I would love to give it a go. Yeah, trying to think. I don't know if it's because I do a lot of full coverage. I do have quite a few that are no longer full coverage. No, that was said really poorly. I now have a few whips that aren't, but I am definitely drawn to the style of a piece of artwork rather than something that you could tell is cross-stitched. So if you've got any other methods you think I might, like to try, or you find to be really helpful, please let me know below. I want to try all the things, and I am going to be starting all the things really soon. I should have a bolt of fabric by the end of August, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but I don't know if I've shared tentative plans. I think I want to do Silly September again this year. Last year, I believe it was a whip every day. I put all my whips onto a Tiny Decisions app and spun to see what I was working on. This year, if I do it, it will probably be starts because I will have a lot of fabric. Playing with that idea because, again, Mania at least is pretty stressful trying to do 31 starts in the 31 days. I like the idea of it, but I would have to make sure that I was able to start them without stress. I don't know if that means having the threads for the first couple of stitches of each one ready to go, having only whips that are set up with the couple of threads on my wheel rather than everything I want to stitch. Yeah, I've just got to play with the idea, but I do love alliteration and I love challenges, so I would like to participate again in Silly September. but I've just got to make sure that it works for me. I'm not sure that time of year. I think it's relatively quiet. Nothing's coming to my mind that sort of really happens in September. But again, I will have a new job soon, and I don't know whether there are um, particular events that occur. So I'll just have to play with it. But I would like to make a lot of new starts. And I don't know if I can wait until the new year, because I will be putting out a Whips in Potentia video soon. I'm still pulling that together. I haven't been quite as organised the last couple of years as I would like. So when I used to have a very extensive and accurate list of what I had ready to go. Sorry, being distracted by my son. They're sort of all over the place now. I have some saved on a USB stick. I have some that are saved in emails, some that are just saved on my individual computers. So I definitely need to do a bit of organizing before I can share that video with you, but I am definitely hoping to have it out before I start all my things, because a lot of them will end up as my starts, hopefully. Yeah, I've got about 6 minutes still to go. I don't think I've got anything else to say with my cross stitching. Thank you everyone for following my journey. It's definitely hit a few rough patches, but cross stitch, I'm pretty confident in saying it's part of my life, and I can't see it going anywhere anytime soon. I've made a lot of really close friends in the cross stitch community, both locally and via the internet. I do wish that teleportation was a thing so I can visit with all my friends. Time zones also make it slightly difficult to chat as much as I would like, but that's okay because I'm thankful that the option is there at all. Yeah, I've hit a blank. My mind is just tired from everything, and thinking is hard. So I will, I guess, go back to a couple more questions. Otherwise, you'll hear me talk about randomness. I don't know. I should have more of a plan when I record these. I'm sorry, guys. Where is it? Who sent the last text message I received? My auntie. We catch up pretty regularly, even more so now than we used to. I, instead of going to the dance studio, will often go to her house, spend some time with her, and because it's more comfortable to sit in at the studio for, a couple of hours every night. And we also do family dinner most Sundays, so we were just talking about and organizing tonight. We'll have tacos, and I am so excited because I love them and don't do them nearly often enough because it's hard not to have food wastage with them. 106, who was the last person you ate dinner with? My family. So last night was a bit of a get your own affair. My knee was really, really hurting, so I didn't cook, I guess, a family dinner. Samuel had an oven pizza. I think Elise had party pies and sausage rolls. My husband was at a friend's house. The night before that, I had dinner with Auntie Tanya. That's pretty much going to be always the answer. Either my family or my auntie, who is obviously family. We don't go out often with others who aren't family because we just don't have the time. Who was your first celebrity crush? I don't actually remember. I I go through phases with everything. I Yeah, it depends on the movie, honestly. Um, I'm not necessarily attracted to people because of their physical appearance or their gender. It's all about personality for me. And so my crushes are often, at least for celebrities, directly related to how they're portrayed in either a movie or in the media, because obviously I'm not going to know who they actually are. Um, Instead of my first, I guess I'll give you the one that's forefront of mind, Alexander Rybak. He was the winner of, I think, 2009 Eurovision. He represented Norway but is from Belarus, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering any of the pronunciation. He won with a song called Fairy Tale, and I just think he is the most adorable human. Obviously, not the most, but I'm exaggerating. And it was his birthday recently, and we are born the same year, so he just turned 35. And because of Eurovision and because of his birthday, he's been fairly active on TikTok and other media. So he's sort of, I guess, what I'm thinking of right now. And is everyone else as obsessed with TikTok as I am? I was pretty late to the whole TikTok thing. I downloaded the app and sort of, I guess, started using it because of Hank Green. He is one of the Vlog Brothers. I followed him first and then his brother John. And then just from there, with the For You page, I found quite a lot of hilarious people. I've got a weird mix on my TikTok. So anyone who looks at my followers, I think, would have trouble understanding why. Um, so yeah, I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok lately. I'm probably super late to the party, but it's super fun. Who was your first boyfriend, girlfriend? Miles. It was grade, I think it was only grade 12. I wasn't super interested in relationships growing up. I didn't have a lot of time. Um, it just wasn't something that I felt I needed. Um, yeah. And the next couple, I think, will start a bit more of a conversation. So I will leave it at that because we are finishing up. I hope you enjoyed the absolute mess and struggle town that was my Stitch With Me this month. And I'll see you soon for my update. Bye, guys.